At it again, and we got to talk about Jesse Waters because this guy, I came across this clip of Jesse and it is absolutely on point, and I want to share it with you guys and get your thoughts and opinions, and of course I'll interject here or there, but like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new, and let's dive in.
As soldiers returned home, the New York Times dropped a bombshell. Some GI captives fear converted was the headline. It was the government's biggest nightmare come true. American prisoners of war were coming home converted by communist brainwashers. The story kicked the CIA into high gear. Just weeks into his job as CIA director, Alan Dulles approved one of the biggest mind control experiments known to man. Codename MK Ultra. The goal was to manipulate the minds through electroshock therapy, hypnosis, even psychedelic drugs like LSD. And they picked their guinea pigs from military bases, college campuses, hospitals, prisons. Former crime boss Whitey Bulger described his experience as, quote, hallucinating, hours of paranoia and feeling violent, guys turning to skeletons in front of me. I saw a camera change into the head of a dog. I felt like I was going insane. These experiments lasted for 2 decades with hundreds of victims. Now, Democrats want to make mind control great again. Just the other day, Hillary Clinton recently said, we have to deprogram you. And this weekend, the deprogramming officially commenced. Martha Raddatz with ABC grabbed a few Trump supporters off the street, threw them all into a room together, and observed them in their natural habitat.
New Hampshire's primary results do appear to have cemented Donald Trump's grip on the Republican Party. So we sat down with 3 of his staunchest supporters in Allentown, Pennsylvania this week to see what drives their devotion to the former president. This is not a fact check on their beliefs. There's no changing their minds.
They are the definition of diehard Trump supporters.
The way Raddatz described Trump supporters kind of makes me expect to see a bunch of animal skin-draped militia members with muskets and MAGA hats.
Facts.
We just saw normal Republicans who appreciated Trump's policies.
I think what, excuse me, I think what's going on there a little bit is the jealousy factor shining through. Biden doesn't have any true supporters, right? When have you ever seen any Biden merch? And granted, this is just merch, sure, but I think it speaks to, and I touched on this before, this is why Trump has an actual floor. There's a floor that he's not going to drop below in terms of support, right? Biden doesn't have a floor. He doesn't have, you know, people that truly rock with who he is, right? But there are lots of folks who actually rock with Trump just for him, right? I'm one of those individuals. Like, I like Trump. Put the politics to the side. Like, I feel like I can hang out with Trump. Now, I'm terrible at golf, so I would have to polish up on that because I know he likes to golf. But I am absolutely garbage. I went to the driving range once, and yeah, I learned that it's not all about strength, you know. That's not the golf game. But anyway, I'll spare you guys from that story today. You know, but like I said, there's a jealous factor that's going on there, which is why she said it the way that she said it. Like Jesse said, like the way that they describe, you know, Trump supporters, it made it sound like we were going to get a bunch of raging lunatics who were racist and angry, you know, and nasty folks, when they're just regular people like you and I that just support Donald Trump. Crazy, right?
Martha Raddatz, whose idea of a Republican's Chris Christie on Sunday, was still stunned. They couldn't be deprogrammed. She admits she was just there to diagnose them.
Here's this guy coming down the escalator. A rich guy, married 3 times, pretty foul mouth. What was it and what is it?
Hold on, were you describing Joe Biden? Rich guy, been married several times. Joe Biden's been married a couple times, right? He definitely has a foul mouth, okay? Calling black kids roaches and, saying Obama is the first mainstream, clean, articulate black male, right? Was he talking about Joe Biden? I'm just confused a little bit here. I just want some clarification.
Married 3 times, pretty foul mouth. What was it and what is it about him?
Has he made mistakes? Oh my goodness, yes. But I do believe that his heart's in the right place for me. How many presidents, how many politicians have come out on stage and hugged the American flag? That really means something to me.
You said something that interested me, which is Donald Trump cares about me.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the common man. I really think he has a heart for the common man. I really do.
The man says Trump cares about me, and Raddatz says, what do you mean by that? A president who cares about Americans appears to be a foreign concept for a Washington journalist. Raddatz prefers presidents who care about foreigners. And the interrogation continued.
Having him elected back into office is the step that we need to take to make this country great.
And what was wrong with the country?
To me, what's wrong with the country is we're under financial tyranny, we're under corporate tyranny.
What does that mean? Explain that to me.
I mean that we're overtaxed. It's hyper-taxation.
And you think Donald Trump can change that? And do you blame Joe Biden for that?
Well, I don't blame Joe Biden. I blame his failed policies. Just because the S&P 500 is at an all-time high doesn't mean that gas isn't higher than it was several years ago. I run a restaurant, so the cost of beef went up 5 to 6%.
Now, this puzzles Martha, a restaurant owner having an opinion about the economy in an election year. What do peasants know about the economy? Your opinion only counts if you have a PhD. Now, what's next? You're going to say gas is too expensive? Well, Jay Leno says, why should we listen to truck drivers about the price of gas?
I think he's done a really good job with the economy. But you have people now who just, if someone says the economy is terrible, it is. This is the one thing I love about America now. We're the only place in the world. If you go to Europe, we wanted to talk about the economy. So we went to the University of Economics department. We went to a truck stop in Lima, Ohio. Here in America, you go to the truck stop, and you talk to the guy and hear what he has. I would rather have an expert,
Well, economists have predicted not.
So it takes an expert to know that we're paying higher prices for everything? Like it takes an expert to figure that one out? Somebody's getting a little kickback, if you know what I mean. Somebody's getting a little kickback, if you know what I mean. Goodness gracious. Wow.
9 out of the last 5 recessions. Why wouldn't Leno listen to them? Lawrence Peter famously said, an economist is an expert who will know tomorrow why the things he predicted yesterday didn't happen today. So truck drivers and restaurant owners shouldn't be listened to or cared about. The experts will tell them how to feel. They say you're better off. You are? If they say Biden's a young man trapped in an old man's body, he is.
We all spend time with Biden. Spend time with him. It's 3 hours on photo lines, on 3 events a day, then giving speeches. Are you kidding? At 80 years old to be in that kind of health? I have no issues whatsoever. And by the way, I'm an old-fashioned guy. I think Bobby Kennedy said it best. What the world needs are the qualities of youth, not a time of life, a state of mind, a quality of imagination. That's Joe Biden.
Did Newsom just say age is just a number? Because that's just a pickup line for old guys. What are these youthful qualities of Joe Biden?
We'll teach Donald Trump a valuable lesson. Don't mess with the women in America unless you want to get the benefit.
Now, if Gavin says those are the qualities of youth.
That one, or I was in Himalayas. Or the proof is in the eating. Famous words from Joe Biden.
Don't believe your eyes. He is the expert. And when Biden gets heckled at every event, don't believe your eyes. They're really Russian plants.
I think some of these protesters are spontaneous and organic and sincere. Some, I think, are connected to Russia. And I say that having looked at this for a long time now, as you know.
You think some of these protests are Russian plants?
I don't think they're plants. I think some financing should be investigated. And I want to ask the FBI to investigate that.
Don't you see? Biden's really young and popular. And if you protest him, you're a domestic terrorist.
Pretty interesting that she mentions some financing should be investigated. Kind of interesting that that's coming from Nancy Pelosi of all people. Finances need to be investigated. Okay. Yeah. Yep. I do know someone's finances that need to be investigated, Nancy. And it aren't your protesters. Yours.
The FBI will visit. So don't believe your eyes. Don't do your own research. Sit back and make yourself comfortable while the media spoon feeds you the approved storyline.
You seem to trust journalists more than I do.
I trust certain journalists, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Certain ones I do. Yeah. Not a lot. And
not a lot?
No. And everything I read, whatever source, it's only half the truth. They print the narrative. They don't print truth.
That's a generalization, though.
Well, it is, but it's because it's generally true.
You know, by the way, that's exactly what Donald Trump wants. What you just said is exactly what he wants.
It doesn't matter.
Don't trust the reporters. Okay. Don't trust the journalists.
Well, Hitler was a vegetarian. Doesn't mean I'm like Donald Trump. But they print the half that they want. That is going to make people like you, who are a partisan, very partisan. You want to read something that, that makes me feel good.
You hear that? Democrats would rather be wrong than agree with Trump. When Trump says don't believe everything you read in the media, the Democrats don't say, yeah, I kind of agree. They say you must believe everything you read in the media. The Democrats don't want you to have your own opinion because they're not allowed to have their own. Democrats are scornful because they're jealous that you're a free thinker. They're projecting. I wrote about this in How I Saved the World. You have to save yourself before you can go around and start saving everyone else. The deprogramming starts here.
These blue bubbles where everyone's gone insane. Well, I used to be a part of the blue bubble. I was 100% a left-leaning person who lived in Los Angeles. At the end of the day, I'm way more left than I am right. But California went nuts, man. It's gone like full communist. It's out of its mind. They ruined the city.
I'm in the middle now.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle.
I never thought I would ever say that.
Never. They're in a cult. They're in a cult.
The American people really haven't changed at all. We like low crime and low prices, and we like politicians who listen to us and love the country. We always have, and we always will. It's the left that's changed. And just because our minds can't be changed about what makes America great doesn't mean we're in a cult.
Facts. Doesn't mean we're in a cult. Furthest thing from it, if you ask me, right? Democrats are the ones that are in the true cult, if you ask me. Democrats are the ones who bash each other and call each other names when, their fellow leftists deviate from the approved narrative, right? You don't see that happening on the right. You don't see that. But you see it happening on the left. And matter of fact, I've touched on this in previous videos where I've said, you know what? I'm honestly a little jealous of Democrats because whenever there's any type of messaging, they all come out and say the exact same thing. Like there's no deviating from it. Like they all repeat the exact same thing, which in turn almost kind of brainwashes some folks, right? Threat to democracy, threat to democracy, threat to democracy. How many, almost cursed, how many freaking times have you heard threat to democracy? Like, you can't even count at this point, right? You can't even count. Can't even count. Like, it's been that many times, but that's because they all repeat it. They all say the same thing. And now, scrolling through social media, and I told you guys, I've started to actually reply under some political post where somebody says something crazy. Like, for example, I don't remember exactly what was said, but it was on a leftist Instagram page, and they had posted something political, right? Something, oh, Donald Trump has to pay $83.3 million or something in, the new case or the case, whatever. Something like that. And one of the individuals in the comment section had said something about, I can't believe we're even still talking about him. He's a threat to democracy. Something like that, right? It was something threat to democracy, right? The Democrat talking point. And of course I commented on it. But my point is, like, I'm starting to see regular folks like repeat that stuff, right? Which is why I say it's a little bit beneficial when everybody's in unison and they're saying the same things, because like you just people continually hear threat to democracy, threat to democracy, threat to democracy, threat to democracy so many times that they start to believe that we actually live in a democracy and not a constitutional republic. As a matter of fact, I think that's what I commented. That was part of it. Was a long, man. I gave them a whole. I wrote a whole book under that post. I ain't gonna even lie. I wrote a whole book, and I think one of the things that I said was, it's kind of interesting that they call it a democracy, but really we live in a constitutional republic. You can look that up and then ask yourself, why are they lying to you? I think I said something along those lines, plus like a bunch of other stuff. I went on a whole rant. But yeah, I'm honestly a little jealous, just a little bit, right? Because that's messaging. And unfortunately, it brainwashes some folks. Goodness gracious. It's unfortunate that it has to be that way. But that's the game we have to play, or a game we have to play against at this point in time. And I believe towards the end of this year, when it's time, we're going to win. And Trump is going to walk back in that White House, and he's going to make sure that we never have to play these foolish games ever again. And before any leftist, right, sees this video, I don't mean, ending elections like Democrats say, which is, that's also, a crazy talking point as well. When Democrats say, oh, Trump is going to end all elections. He was already in the White House. Have people forgotten? He's going to be a threat to democracy. He was already there. He was already in the White House. Was he a threat to democracy then? Did he end all elections then? No. He could have. He could have said, you know what, I'm declaring martial law, right? He could have said, you know what, y'all going to have to drag me out of this White House, a cold, dead corpse, if you want me out of this White House. He could have, but he didn't. So, just this whole narrative of threat to democracy is a bunch of BS anyway. We already haven't seen Trump in the White House before. Goodness gracious. Anyway, y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button before you go. It's right up over there. Click that thing to subscribe. And then after you do that, click that. You might like it. Peace and love. I'm out.